I've been testing these 4 popular science kits with my son for the past 2 years. Here are the ones that actually develop scientific thinking versus the ones that create colorful reactions for 5 minutes of wow. Hey there guys, I'm April, your no fluff plug to family products that actually work. And before you spend your money on these science kits that promise to turn your kids into the next Neil deGrasse Tyson, let me show you what I actually discovered. I evaluated each science kit for critical thinking skills for kids ages 3 through 8. This includes hypothesis information, observation skills, and cause and effect reasoning, along with following multi-step procedures. Using my scientific testing approach, I tracked actual learning and development over a 30-day period, or using the science kits for at least 3 times. And this was to determine whether or not the experiments were just cool. I compared these kits not just against the wow factor, but real scientific learning outcomes. Because there's a huge difference between a science kit that actually teaches versus one that just make magical colors. Let's talk about what these companies actually promise versus what actually develop scientific thinking skills. Most science kits claim to teach chemistry concepts or a specific method to 5-year-olds. But true hypothesis thinking requires abstract thinking, and that doesn't fully develop to the child's about 7 or 8. What a 5-year-old can actually learn is cause and effect relationships, as well as start to develop observation skills. I tested kits that are marketed to kids 4+, ages 3+, and one that is more suitable for 7 to 8-year-olds. The goal was to see if that reading comprehension was actually a requirement in order to do the instruction, as well as most were variation of the wow reactions. Let's start with the National Geographic Kids for Junior Chemistry Lab Kit. The first time that my son and I actually used this science kit, it was to make a volcanic eruption. And based on the instructions, they were very easy to read and they were very simple to follow. It comes with safety gear like glasses, which I could appreciate. Everything is made out of plastic, which allowed me to feel a lot more comfortable in the event he wanted to do this by himself. And it comes with an instruction book that is easy to read, along with my son, who was able to pick up and follow along on the instruction. Your experiments, this is by National Geographic Kids. Most of the experiments that you can do with this are with household products.
Yes.
So today we're going to show you his favorite, which is the volcano one, and all you need is baking soda
and a piece of vinegar
and some vinegar
to make the volcano.
That's right. It's called Volcanic Eruption. And it's on page 34 and 35.
Hold on.
I'm going to fill this halfway.
Ready?
A little bit more. All right, perfect. There you go. And we're going to, all right, now squeeze it. We're going to slowly, 1, 2, 3. Wow.
It's coming.
Whoa!
Did you see that?
Yeah!
You never did just.
All right.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
That's
Good
awesome.
job.
Good job, buddy.
Next, we have the Smile Cadeau Science Kit, which is a little bit different from the chemistry kit. This focuses on electrical currents and teaching your children about electricity and how things flow between different parts to make things cut on and off. Now I think this is good if you are able to understand how to explain the why behind this. But if you're just getting it to teach them the overall understanding of STEM, I don't necessarily, for someone without that background, think it would be very helpful for them. My son did a 2-person experience. The parent and the child, or 2 children, can really come together. Teaches them early about how things like electricity work. You have different functions and modes that are within the science kit that you and an adult and the child can work through. And I really like that it's very interactive. I have a separate review of this Learning Resources Science Kit that I will link here as well in the description below if you want more background about how this actually works. Of course, this is more on the mathematics side, so it's teaching him sorting and math. And what I like about this is that it always improves fine motor skills, which is super important for small children. These have pieces where you can use to pick them up. We were able to explain to him why focusing on fine motor of picking objects up and putting it down was important.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a backup color.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is the sorting game. So you're going to roll the dice, get a color and a number between 1 through 5. If the dice lands on a star, roll the dice again. Use the tongues to pick up the color. So the tongues to pick up the color and the number of germs indicated on the dice and drop them into the matching cube. Okay? Want to roll the dice?
Yeah.
Okay, let's roll the dice. All right.
I got red.
So you have 2 red. So you're going to use the tongues.
Okay.
You're going to pick up 2 red germs and put them in the 2 red tubes.
Okay.
It's okay. There you go. 1
And
2. Good job.
yeah.
Good practice by lifting each tube from the stem and dumping out the germs. So now you're going to use your squeeze clamps. You're going to pick this tube up. Yep, pick it up. And then you're going to dump it back on the table.
Look, it's stuck.
It's okay. Sound disappointing because some of the ones, for example, like making the crystal, my son would love to do that multiple times, but it's only a 1 use. And I didn't like that with over 130 experiments. Some of them were 1 use, and that was a problem for me. I also found that it included a lot of products that would irritate my son's skin if he did not use proper gloves or protection. For example, it has this calcium lactate that I don't even know what is. Also, it has this sodium alga acid, citric acid. Some of these products I would definitely say are not age appropriate for a 5-year-old to do on their own. They have like this effervescent tablet which we use to order to make the crystal. But again, a lot of these experiments in here are one-time use, which I found disappointing. After using my systematic testing approach against my scientific learning criteria, here's what actually develops scientific thinking. I would say buy this one if your child can actually read basic instructions. There's nothing in here that is going to danger your child from using it independently by themselves. Most of the instructions only include water or dish soap, so it's very easy, and your child is definitely able to explain why everything is happening because you're using products and words that your child knows how to use on their own. However, I would say skip this if your child's not ready for steps that are multi-level. So this requires doing 4 or 5 steps. And if your child's not really able to follow on by themselves without getting frustrated, I would say skip this. But this is a really good start to any STEM category if your child is interested in STEM. If I didn't mention it before, this would be my clear winner in getting a science kit for your child. And today, that are educational, but they don't really go into the risk of safety with these kits. And some safety risks are above the age for a child who is 3 or 5 years old. So that's definitely something to keep in mind when getting any scientific kit. I will say that the Nat Geo had the clearest instructions for safety, and I really can appreciate that, especially because the instructions were very simple and my son really enjoys doing the volcanic eruption. Of course, there's no safety risk with using the learning resources. Just be mindful that there are small pieces, so it can be a choking hazard, but you don't have to really worry about anything irritating your child's skin. And of course, with the Smile Cadeau, you are using electrical currents because you have to add batteries to things, so there is a shock risk to be mindful of with that, and as well as the last science kit with over 130 experiments. Again, skin irritation is possible. Now, I will say that the National Geographic Science Kit is kind of middle of the road. For $10 more than the average science kit that you're gonna get on Amazon, it's 10 times worth the actual value, and it's really worth it. If you think about it, it's like 50 cents per meaningful science experiment, and to me, that's great value. Links to all the science kits are gonna be listed in the description box below, and using these science kits will help fund more honest reviews from a mom like me. Next week, I'm testing building blocks to see which ones develop spatial awareness versus which ones just stack really pretty. Spoiler alert, the one that is the most expensive is not the winner. Of course, right? What science kit claims should I investigate next? Are you wondering about microscope kits, robotic sets, or something else? Drop your questions below. If this video helped you save yourself from buying science kit that were all flash and no learning, subscribe for more evidence-based educational product investigations, because your kids deserve experiments that actually work and actually teach them scientific thinking mechanisms and methods that go beyond just pretty wow reactions.